park them at, those that haven't seen these going, you park them at one end of the field with a tractor hitching onto the front of that, drag the gun one end of the field to the other end of the field, as you see, unwinding the hose as you go to the far end of the field, connect it up to, as you can see, this end is flexi hose. The whole farm has an underground main system around the whole farm with hydrants which come out of the ground. We connect these then up to the hydrants, start the pumps, and then they very slowly, a little bit of the water is diverted into a little pump. The pump drives a little motor which winds the gun back in at whatever speed you like to give whatever sort of application you want for that potato crop, so that they will then irrigate a sort of 4 to 5 hectare block. When it gets to the end, disconnect it, move it up another 80 to 90 yards, however wide your guns are, your strips are, set it up again, pull it out again, and so it'll do sort of 4 or 5 hectare runs, and you can do probably 2 of those in a 24-hour spell. So as you can see, we've got 5 of them here, so we can keep more going. You can get a lot of acres irrigated very quickly.
So we've done the same before about you have to put an inch or 25 mil of water onto a crop every week. We reckon to put that down onto an acre it costs us £100 every time. So it's an expensive business. That was one of the advantages we had last year, was we saved all that money because it kept on raining. So that
you've got the machinery just sat here.
Yeah, you're right.
Just appreciate
so
it.
Yeah, it's an advantage and a disadvantage. As you said, you've got the kit, you want to be using it, but then you've got the cost of running it. So you've got obviously the initial capital cost of going out there to buy all this kit, the capital cost of all the underground main, there's above ground irrigation pipes, 3 pumps, and they're all driven by electricity, so the running costs are fairly huge, plus the man hours required to move the kit and set it up, maintain it, the servicing, maintenance charges as well, so it is an expensive operation.
Yeah. I think, I'm not sure whether Martin's shared it with you. Have you shared the growing cost of potatoes with them?
No, I haven't. We've explained, we've created some financial data and some maps and the broad descriptor, and I've explained, we've done our bit for the paper industry.
Yeah.
So I've said there's lots of other technical information that we'll put online that we can have a look at depending on what they identify, where we all want to go in terms of understanding the technical bit behind.
Yeah.
I have said this shortage of data won't necessarily be an issue.
No.
The question here is, when do we buy these? And they've been bought, as you can see, there's a bit of a sort of age range amongst them, that some of them are now probably up to 20 years old. But one new one is this one, which we bought last year. 2007, the last extremely wet year, we bought 2 irrigators. So if I buy an irrigator, it's going to be a wet summer. They've been bought at different stages. They replace them. They will, because you don't use them for an awful long time, and there's not too many wearing parts. They only move sort of fairly slowly. They do last quite a long time.
Can you use all them at one production season? Is there any?
Last summer, no. But usually, yes, they're all 5 are, there are times when we can run all 5 at once. We have the pump capacity to run 5 machines at once. So if it's really hot for a spell, that would be nice. And we'd be flat out with irrigation.
Do you range them? If, for example, if you use 3 of them, if 2 of them are idle, you range them for others?
No, because the next day the sun might come out, and because you've got to be slightly in front. And Sam might just sort of talk about where we have to do soil moisture readings. You need to know what the requirements are. Should we be putting 20 mils on, or 25 mils, or 30 mils, which is done by what the weather forecast is to a certain extent, but also what the soil moisture deficit is. And there are various ways of reading soil moisture deficit to find out accurately, because of the costs involved. If we put on 30 mil when actually 20 mil would have been enough, then we've spent money which we didn't need to.
And also there's obviously a maximum amount that a potato can use. If you imagine if you're watering a plant or something, and you tip some water on it, it'll all soak into the plant. But if you keep tipping, there's going to come a point where it just overflows. And at a point, as Dad says, you're just wasting money. So we've invested in the last couple of years in some soil moisture probes, which actually send us live data of what's going on in the field, and it's soil temperature and soil moisture are the main two things. And what we're trying to achieve, so we're measuring it at different depths, and what we're trying to achieve is, if you imagine a graph where this is too full, and this is too wet, and this is too dry, we're trying to keep it here. So when you irrigate, it'll come up to here, and then the plant will start to use it, and you want to irrigate again here before it gets down into too dry, because then that's when the plant gets stressed and you're starting to lose.
Too wet and you're wasting money and draining away. Too dry and you could be losing either yield or crop quality, which again is a critical issue. So it's something, and different varieties require different amounts of rain at different stages in their crops. So a crop that's growing really well and got a big leafy top on, as opposed to one which is small and only just sort of recently emerged. So it is a bit of a science during the growing season of the potato crop.
The usual thing is it's a bit of a science and a bit of an art, isn't it?
So
Yeah.
because the weather forecast again is critical, because you don't want to put an inch of rain on and you get the good Lord provides an inch of rain the next day. So you've got to be ongoing, daily. There's a probe in there, and at that time of the year, Sam's sort of monitoring online. You can go online and monitor it daily. You can get it on the phone, so daily. So you can be seeing this, as Sam's saying, trying to keep your moisture levels in that parameter of not too dry and not too wet. Yeah, there have been times when we've been flat out, and you have to keep the irrigators, but keeping 5 irrigators going 24 hours a day, or as near to 24 hours a day as you can, we can get round all our crop in about 4 days. Because there are times when, if the crop is really going well, it wants an inch of rain if it's really hot, you've got temperatures in the 70s and early 80s, it'll want an inch of rain every 4 days. So then we're under pressure a bit.
But hopefully what we're getting a bit of an impression of with potatoes is just how changeable and how volatile it can be, and also how expensive it can be. We've talked about how much more expensive the seed is, talked about how expensive these are, and if you're thinking about moving these every 5-6 hours, trying to keep it going 24 hours a day, think about the costs of staff to do that, the cost of diesel for the tractors to get up there, pull the kit out, the electricity costs of keeping the pumps going to keep this going. So it starts to, if you're not careful with potatoes, the costs can sort of run away with you, and you can get to the end and think, oh, I sold it for £120 a tonne, oh, that's quite good. But actually, when you look at how expensive it's been to get that ton of potatoes into the shop, the margins are tight, really.
And then at the other end, so on the marketing end, when we got to the other end, we've got crops to harvest. This we're looking at behind here is our grading line. It's not a huge, massive grading line, because we
Probably as old as me, is it? I think
it's about as old as you actually, Sam, yeah. But it's still going well. No, it's still going well. We have, and again, you make your own decisions. We are around about 60% of our crop is processing, chipping varieties, crisping varieties, but actually mostly chipping varieties that we grow. 40% of the crop we're growing is salads, just little small ones, Charlotte, Maris Pear, and Pearline, which is a new one, which is a Sainsbury's variety. So that's the sort of decisions we've made. The beauties of the salads are you're handling less tons, and mostly off our nice light lands, we can make a good enough sample to go straight off the harvester into ton boxes, which we can't, I haven't just got any in here now, but these sort of ton boxes, and off to a packing station. We're fortunate we've got a Green Vale AP, I don't know whether you've heard of them, but they're quite a major packing station, only about 7 miles up the road. They're major suppliers for Sainsbury's in particular. So Pearline is a Sainsbury's variety, whereas Pear is mostly a Sainsbury's variety. So on the salads, we mostly deal with Green Vale and Sainsbury's. All of those, pretty well all of those, are on a contract. Fixed price for the year. Sometimes it does a sliding scale just depending on the month of the year, but mostly is a fixed price for the year. You agree that at, well, in the winter time now, or probably earlier than now, you know, Christmas time, January-ish, before you're ordering the seed and getting the seed supplied. Sort out your contract price, fixed price. Then it becomes producing as many tons as possible. Tons times price is what it's all about. On the processing side, on the chipping varieties, we do around about 40 to 50% on a contract, and 50% of those on a what we call free buy. Whatever that you pays, whatever the price is on the day of your harvesting. We have a number of, unfortunately, just gonna right. We'll move out. So let's have a quick wander around.
And then you hire people just for the